On this video, I want to show you how to use a seismogram in order to determine the distance to an earthquake and its magnitude. So let's look at this seismogram here, and we see on this seismogram two sets of waves. These are the P waves, and these here are the S waves. And then we have a scale of time on the horizontal axis, which has been set to 0 for the first P wave, and we have a scale of size for the amplitude or the size of the earthquake waves. So first, to determine the distance, we need to determine the interval of time between the first P wave, which is set at 0 here, and the first S wave, which would be this wave right here. So we can read this directly on the seismogram, and we have here 35 seconds. Okay, so our S minus P is 35 seconds. Next, we're going to use the travel time curve graph in order to determine the distance to the earthquake. So on this graph, we have a scale of distance on the horizontal axis and a scale of time on the vertical axis. Notice that this would be 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and so on. And then for the distance, this is 100 kilometers, so each vertical line represents 20 kilometers, so we would have 20, 40, 60, and so on. So we know we have 35 seconds, and we're going to use the S minus P curve in order to determine the distance. So we graph 35 seconds right here, and we get here to 340 kilometers. So this particular earthquake was 340 kilometers from the recording station. Next, we're going to want to determine the magnitude. In order to determine the magnitude, we first need to determine the amplitude, meaning the size of the largest wave on this seismogram. So we look at the largest wave. We have this one here, and we have this one here, and they are both of the same size. So I can measure this either up or down from the 0. So here, this largest wave is 350 millimeters. So once I have that, I'm going to use a nomogram. I'm going to graph the distance versus the amplitude of the waves, and then I will read the magnitude in the middle. So I had a distance of 340 kilometers, which would start here. I have an amplitude of 350 millimeters, which would graph here. I join the two with a line. I need to draw this with a ruler, and then I read the magnitude right here at 6.7.